While we work in piping, very often we come across codes and standards published by ASME, ASTM, DIN, ANSI, and many more like this. Codes and standard plays an important role in any engineering practices and so as in piping engineering. Let us see in brief what is codes and standard and its advantages. First, let us understand why codes and standard is required. Suppose we have a pump supplied by a vendor from USA and the connecting flange to the suction and discharge nozzle is by a different vendor which is from India. Now, the flanges will fit to the pump only if pump, nozzle flange and connecting flange are manufactured as per the same codes and standard. Let us have one more example. Suppose we have a PSV which is to be tested. So the question again comes about testing procedure. There must be some predefined guidelines for testing which must ensure the safety along with reliability and acceptance to the client. This all comes through codes and standard only, which provides the defined guidelines for testing of PSV. Again, if we have to buy pipe fittings like elbow, wedge, nipple or branch connection like weldolate, again question comes about how to put our requirement in the market for buying. Here again codes and standard provide the information which we can put in the market like what is the pressure rating, what is the thickness, end connection type like plain end or bevel end and other dimensional details. So codes and standard actually standardize the process or product whether it is PSV testing or manufacturing of a product. If we do not standardize the process, procedure or product, then the manufacturers of a product will manufacture as per specific customer requirement which will fit for one customer but will not fit for the other. To customize the manufacturing as per the specific customer takes lot of time and becomes costly job. Manufacturing of the same product will have different specification or type by different manufacturers, which may fit at one place and may not fit at the other place. The interchangeability of the product will not be possible, which was the case before standardization. So if we define the standardization, we can say standardization is the process of implementing and developing technical documents based on the consensus of different parties that include firms, users, interest groups, standard developing organization and government. And these technical document becomes codes and standards. The important point to note here is that there is a consensus of involved parties during development of the technical documents. Let us see what standardization does. It brings uniformity across the world. It reduces the cost of doing an activity due to clear guidelines defined in codes and standard. It adds an ease to do the business, makes it more safe for the world. All these are achieved by implementing codes, standard and recommended practices. There is a new term here, recommended practices. We will see what is this. Now, if we classify these technical documents in general, there are three types: codes, standards and recommended practices. Industry standards are published by professional societies, committees and trade organizations. It is not just by anybody. Now let us see the definition of these. Codes. It is a group of general rules or systematic procedure for design, fabrication, installation and inspection prepared in such a manner that it can be adopted by legal jurisdiction and made into laws. So the important point to note here is that these are legal documents and there are legal foundations. Standards. Documents prepared by a professional group or committee which are believed to be good and efficient engineering practices and which contain mandatory requirements. So the main difference between codes and standard is that there are no legal foundation in standard, but in code we have legal foundation. Recommended practices. These are technical documents prepared by a professional group or committee indicating good engineering practices, but these are optional only. Now let us see the advantage of using codes and standards. It eradicates the confusion of engineering activity to be performed. It provides a clear picture of what is to be done and how it has to be done. It decreases the cost of engineering activity to be performed. It ensures safety, reliability, and continuity of a system and process and people, because these codes and standards are prepared considering a lot of safety, reliability, and continuity issues. It minimizes the mismatches and promotes interchangeability. It reduces the cost of inventory and ensures the market availability of material and process in less time, because all manufacturers are on common platform due to codes and standard. Also, cost of inventory is reduced because if one manufacturer is not supplying, we can go to the other manufacturers and get the same product, because both the manufacturers are manufacturing as per the same codes and standards. It helps in continuous growth of system and procedure for future, because once the codes and standard is prepared, it is revised time to time considering new aspects of design, new safety challenges, and solving new problems. It helps to avoid reinventing the wheel again, because if we have something already available in the form of codes and standard, there is no need to start from the scratch. These are some famous organizations which prepares codes and standard like ANSI, ASME, ASTM, DIN, CEN, BIS, JISC. These are some more like BSI, SCC, FNOR, API, AWWA, ASMA, ISO. If we can broadly classify standards for piping component, there are three category actually: standards for material, standards for dimension, and standards for testing. For material we have ASTM, DIN, JIS. For dimension we have ASME, BS, JIS, ISO. For testing we have ASME, API, DIN, ISO. These are some examples of ASME codes. These are some standards for pipes and fittings. Standards for flanges, gasket, and fasteners. So this was in brief about codes and standard and its advantages. See you in the next video. Thank you very much.